have been developments in the past few years, which is great. I mean, and to be clear though, funding has been permitted here for insolvencies for a considerable number of years. So I think there's a bit of a tendency for people to think that this is just allowing funding for everything, but it's been allowed for insolvencies for a number of years. The development has been to permit funding in arbitrations, which is now fully permitted in Singapore. It's almost fully permitted in Hong Kong. They're just waiting to complete their code of conduct. So that's the one thing that's holding up Hong Kong. And in fact, we have seen as a result, from our point of view, that the numbers of inquiries from Singapore has definitely increased compared with those that we see in Hong Kong, which remain the insolvency claims only at the moment. Well, I mean, in a way, it isn't geographically specific what interests us. It is good cases. And it's the same the world over when you're looking at good cases. And you want jurisdictions which you can have confidence in trying to assess the outcome of a case. And you want to have all the tools that you have when you're looking in any jurisdiction about the lawyers that will work on the cases. And we get that confidence being in this neck of the woods. So certainly in Hong Kong and Singapore, high degree of confidence around those. We do a lot in Australia and New Zealand as well. So that is, it is less about the jurisdiction and more about the confidence in the judiciary and in the professionals working in it. Perhaps is driven by me. I've been funding since 2002, and I started life funding only insolvency cases in England because the law there was also very clear, had been permitted since the end of the 19th century in England. And so we've built up at Harbour a really good body of expertise around reviewing all types of insolvency related matters, working with insolvency practitioners across all types of cases. And there's a lot of principles which you can then keep applying in other jurisdictions too. So I suppose we feel particularly comfortable looking at insolvency related cases and the repeated issues that can come from those types of cases. That means you can do very quick assessments of them, and that's great for those who are looking for funding. Well, gosh, I mean, the range of things that we look at, if you look at the current portfolio that Harbour has, we're funding everything from the insolvency, breach of contract type cases, all the way through antitrust matters, intellectual property matters, shareholder class actions. We're even funding 15,000 Indonesian seaweed farmers in their claim against an Australian oil company, which is an Australian piece of litigation. So that just illustrates the breadth of things that Harbour will consider for funding. I don't know whether it's a myth, or not. It's hard to tell always, isn't it, what everybody else is seeing, but there's no doubt that there's a great attraction in working with insolvency practitioners because they're very experienced. They've been through the litigation process. They know how challenging it can be. They'll accept sensible offers, which is important because we don't get to control the way they run the litigation. So who you're funding is very important in looking at the case, because if they turn out to be to not want to take advice from their lawyers, then suddenly you've got somebody who's quite challenging to work with. And we know that insolvency practitioners are very, very professional.